Computer. Okay. And I will share my screen just to make it available. The agenda for today. I think this is not the agenda. No, this is the different. Gosh. Okay. So this should be it. I think I should close that other one. Avoid Give me 1 second, please.
Come and help me. I'm ready to get that one.
Quiet.
So we can still try to wait for people for 2 more minutes. So I think we should get started. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming and showing interest, particularly for completing those forms we put on the internet and Google Forms. So it's actually contributed to the start of this meeting or series of meetings that we're going to be having. I can see somebody have a comment on the chat. Let me see what that is.
Olu, I can monitor the chat for you if you'd like.
Thank you, Justin. So this is the first of the series of the meeting, and just to inform that this is about trying to get people's perspective about this idea of putting several instruments across the equatorial and low latitude region, and how it benefits people. Because from the form that we sent out, we got several information, several ideas from different people's what their intentions are in using the instruments. That is one of the things we'll be discussing today. So this is the kind of agenda we have outlined. So the introductions and welcome address. I will quickly give a presentation, which I believe could we cover some of these objectives that we have outlined here under the project overview. And then we will open the floor for discussion about budgeting and funding, because although we had a funding for this before, we had or a potential funding for this, it turns out that the funding was not sufficient. So in this meeting today, we will be open out the floor for everybody to suggest what kind of funding could be appropriate for this kind of projects. And then there will be action items that will, people will have to maybe want to do some other things like giving presentation in the coming meeting, so we can know the idea or what you have in mind, or how the GNSS will work for you and things like that, so that we can incorporate that in the design of the GNSS instrument that we are hoping for. Then we have an open discussions that okay, I already said that, and then we conclude the meeting on adjournment. So
What?
So I will appreciate if everybody can mute, if you can just mute your computer at some point. So like I said, we are here today to try to understand or get more understanding of the proposal we are trying to put up for the development of or deployment of ground-based instruments over Africa, equatorial and low latitude region. We have a lot of effort has gone into this, and we have a lot of internal collaborators. Our director, Anthony Van Heiken, is also here, I believe, and he has been very instrumental to this and getting into the place that we need to get it to internally. Leslie Lamarche, Todd Valenti, and Paul Wedge, they have also been very instrumental in the terms of logistics aspects. Leslie has been very wonderful. And we also have Todd handling the software aspects, Paul Wedge handling the instruments design. And Babatunde Rabiu is also part of us. He has been up and doing with the logistics as well around the African country. So we appreciate Professor Babatunde a lot on this project. And as well, in the first funding that we got, we thought we will have a lot of subcontractors, but at the end, because of the limitation of the funding, we had to cut so many subcontractors. So Cesar Valadares has been very, very instrumental at the beginning of this concept. And at the time, because of the constraint of the funding that we had at that time, we needed to cut a lot of important subcontractors away. So Valadares, thank you so much for your help. And if you are here, we appreciate you a lot. And a lot of other contributors have been here, as you can see from the external contributors. And then we also have more contributors who have shown their interest online. the Google form that was sent out. We had, I will show us some statistics at the almost at the end of the my presentation, what we had, inputs that we had from people, and it's very, very impressive. So we appreciate everybody for showing interest on this, and that we actually take the project to a very long, to a very, better stage with the people, funding agency. So why do we want to do this? So look at the map of the world. As you can see, it's very interesting. We have tried to plot the magnetic lines, the equator, and 25, I think it's 25 or 40, okay, this is 40 degree away from the equator. And you can see around the equator, only Brazil get closer to Africa. I mean, in the South America in size. And even at that, the size of African sector still double that of the South American sector at the equatorial region. So you can see that for us to have a better statistics of understanding what is going on at the equatorial region, we need more data, which is visible and can be provided around the African sector. Then that is why we put up this map, and one of the motivations for this project. But what we have currently from this other map, you can see what we have currently. This is the distribution of GNSS receiver that I could lay my hands on, and that are available freely on the web. And if you look at the statistics, so looking at the map may not even give you the feeling of what we felt or what motivated this project. But if you look at the bar plot on the right-hand side, you see the statistics kind of distribution of GNSS receivers comparable to the land mass. So on the first one here is the US. I think I call it North America, but it's actually the US. This is the US landmass. It's about 29.6% of the whole landmass. And look at the GNSS receiver that are located in this or distributed across the United States. So it's about 65.3% of all of the receiver distribution. And South America is also not doing bad. It needs some more distribution of receivers. But Europe is also very, very good distribution of receivers. So these are very good distribution of receivers. But look at Africa, where we are here in Africa. You see the landmass is 36.4% of I think it has the largest landmass in these plots. And when you look at the distribution of receivers, you see it's just 2 points.
Because the lack of capacity is not permanent. It's actually mined.
Sorry? I am sorry, I can't hear you properly. Can you do the test? I'm not sure that is for us. Is that for us?
Donna, if you are the host, you can just mute everybody.
Okay, let me see.
So what you can do is guys, we're going to do it differently. We're going to do it.
I just mute and then take questions later.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for the option of mute here.
I think it's in the participants tab.
Participants tab. Okay.
So whenever you can.
No.
You once again.
I am still looking for that option. It's not in the person tab.
Is it that one? Mentioned that he was coming back yesterday.
Mute.
So I'll call him and show you his back. Just give it. Yeah, well done. Just give him another. Just
If
another
you
1 year.
can figure out how to make me co-host, I'll fight with it if you want.
Yeah. Godwin. Yeah, I wanted us to go to here, but I'm not. I want to see for.
Sorry, I don't have the option here.
This person called Jude. Jude, you're the one who should mute your mic.
Can it be called up to mute?
Jude, can you mute your mic, please?
Unfortunately, I don't have that option here. I think I'll have to include that option next time. But it's
Can
fine.
it drop? Is it still there?
Thank God. So I think it's muted now. So I think I should continue with my talk. So it's fine. So sorry about that. So I was talking about
Hello, sir.
here.
Can those who have joined video also what do you call it, go off from the video? Apart from the one presenting, we will plead that those who are on video should mute it, because the internet at my place is not all that, smooth, so that I can effectively what do you call it, connect. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think they can hear you. So this is the one of the motivations that we had during this preparation of the concepts of this work. So we want to fill the gap, as you can see from this next plot. This is from Maurigam website, and we have TEC map here. As you can see, all over other places except Africa, you see that big hole around the equatorial region. And this is 5 by 5 degree. You can imagine if it were 1 by 1 or 0.5, that in case you want to study waves activities and things like that. So you will not be able to even see anything here. So the important point is that a lot of studies to complete the gap, the current scientific knowledge gap that we have, can be done over Africa with very good statistics. So we plan to, so this is the current status of things. This is at one time. If you have connections, maybe with some other friends in Africa, you may get more receiver stations than what I got, but this is just not contacting anybody, just going to the internet and downloading the receivers data. This is what you get. Very, very, very bad. So what we are proposing here is this. We have tried to look at different places that these receivers can be installed. And these are universities, College of Educations, technical colleges, that we hope that the receivers can be situated. And we found about 281 stations from 28 countries over the tropical region of Africa, as you can see from this plot. So if you are interested in studying EIA, if you are interested in studying wave activities, variability of TEC, you want to study seismic activities, all of these can be carried out in this with this large amount of data successfully and conveniently. And we will open the discussion to discuss more about what more can be studied and how we can include those kind of, for example, resolution of the GNSS receiver, what kind of scintillation, what can we include scintillation, can we include S-bars and all of those things. So in the consequence presentation, we'll open the floor for you to also present what you were trying to do or where you will need this kind of large, dense distribution of receivers in this region. And okay, so now part of our efforts has been to strategize. So this is a kind of strategy that we are putting up, like these instrument deployment structures. So SRI is primarily the manufacturer, and that could change in the future. We could contact a manufacturer outside SRI, but for now, SRI is assumed to be the manufacturer of this instrument. And then we plan to transport all of these instruments batch by batch to a central in Africa, in Nigeria, which will be monitored by Professor Babaratunde Rabiu. And from there, it will be distributed across the region. We have divided the region into 3 separate regions, which is the central, the west, and the east. So that we can have handle on all of these instruments. There are some other logistics and modalities that we have put in place and this is still open to discussion, as I will keep repeating this for all my presentation. That is why we are opening this. That is why we are here today, to have suggestions from people and to get feedbacks from them. So we understand there are some challenges like deployment and management problem, electricity, solar panel. We understand the internet problem. We understand contacting university may be a challenge. You know, there are a lot of challenges, and that is why this has not been done yet over Africa. You can see over Brazil, it is there. Over the US, it is there. Europe is large distribution. But over Africa, because of this situation challenges, we still have this lack of receiver stations, which is essential for scientific studies. So we have kind of make a design that, okay. Afolabi, could you please mute, please? Thank you. And so this is the design that we have put in place, and we believe that some of these challenges will be overcome. By this prototype of instrument or unit that we have put in place. And this is, as you can see, it can easily fit on your roof. I think the next slide shows some of the technical description and even a better view of the instrument. You can see it's a kind of adjustable instrument that can be adjusted according to the solar angle of the region. In the box that you see there, it will house the battery, it will house the solar charge controller, it will house the embedded computer board. So if you have a kind of GPS, a kind of phone, a smartphone in your hand, I believe you, at a point you need to charge it, at a point you need to buy data into that phone in your hand to receive calls and to have energy to use your phone. This, as I would say, it is smarter than that phone in the sense that it doesn't need to be charged. We already put solar panel. All it needs now is data, internet. You just need Wi-Fi and once it's sent to you, and you just need to go up the roof and then drop it there. And that's all you need to do. And we set up the internet and it starts working. So if you take 10 hours or 1 hour to maintain your phone, maybe you take 0 or 30 minutes to maintain this kind of instrument. So it has been designed in such a way that it requires no energy from you. It's embedded with battery and solar panel, which can recharge and as recharged as the energy is consumed. And then the internet is not going, depending on the concepts that we are, or the people that wants, because we have received a lot of emails from, particularly from our friend in Noah, that they may need it in real time. So in that case, we are planning to make internet available every point in time in order to make it a real time or near real time instrument. So it depends. So this kind of discussion will lead us to a better place, or we can even start from not needing internet every now and then to needing internet every now and then. So it is a kind of foundation that we are building. And all of these receiver sites that we have shown can even be a co-located stations. Like you have receivers, once we determine those stations as permanent stations, you can put other ground-based instruments close by. So it is a kind of foundation that we are laying right now in that region, tropical region, that if it is successful, it will go a long way to house different kind of ground-based instruments. And that's why sometimes we call these ground-based instruments forum, not really GNSS alone. So it's in the nearest future, we'll hope to do or deploy other ground-based instrument that is useful for example, magnetometer, which is very useful for our studies. Now, another thing that we know that we need to do is data transportation. And if you know SRI very well, we are very much involved in this data management a lot, because we have FISA, we have RISA, we have Mango instruments. So we have a lot of instruments across the United States that are functioning well and sending data every minute, every seconds. So this has been handled by our technical team headed by Todd Valenti. I think he's here in the team. If you have questions regarding this software development on how the data will be handled, he's here to answer those questions as well. And some of the benefits, I keep saying all of these along my presentation. There are a lot of benefits that can be exploited in this distribution of GNSS network. So it's unlimited, and our survey shows that we have input from even government entities that are interested in using this GNSS receiver. We have cyber security, we have geology survey, that is totally outside our field and can be incorporated if we discuss, make it an open discussions, and everybody will be benefited across the board. So I will not go through all of this because some of this is what we already know. And like I said, there are other ones that are like enhance the capacity building of Africa, enhance transportation and logistics, agriculture, and many others. So, and this will also provide collaborative efforts among students and scientists outside Africa, across the globe. So, and not only that, it will also open funding for other projects, because you may sit down and say, okay, I want to write a proposal using all of these instruments because they are there. So it opens another kind of sources for employment in that regards. So it is something that is worth doing. And like I said, we have conducted this survey, and that is very important for us because it also energize us, knowing that people are really interested in these efforts. So this is the statistics that we gather for our survey, from our survey, and we still need more people to go to that survey or to that form and complete it, particularly people that are situated in that region. We have 16 countries from Africa right now. I think this is the statistics for the overall African countries. About 70% of African countries have contributed in one way or the other into this form, and 30% are outside countries. So outside countries are as well important, but when you are in the region, we know that we can rely on you to host the instrument. So we have about 50% coming from Nigeria. I think that is a large one. And given the population of Nigeria, we know that that is expected. And that is fine. So if you are living outside Nigeria, we have not have anyone, for example, from Djibouti. We have not heard from Somalia. And I think all of these are still, if your country is there in this belt and it's not here, and you are in this meeting, that means you need to help us to complete that form so that eventually we can contact you to be a host of the instrument. Or if you know anyone that is in the country that is not listed in this list here, in this list of the country here, please contact the person and you can send the form or the link to the form to the person to complete so that we can have his support as well. And here, so this is just detail about the kind of people that has completed the form. We can see we have mostly lecturers who has completed this form. We have researchers followed by students and postdocs. And as I said earlier, we have other fields as well. We have registered surveyor, we have civil servants. So these are stakeholders that we can even contact that could be helpful in these efforts. Yeah, that completes my overview of the projects. So I will open the floor for everyone that wants to talk about, have one cogent questions or comments. Yeah, please feel free. I think Leslie will come up now to handle this aspect.
Sure, we can do a few minutes of Q&A about what you've presented, if there's any.
Okay.
And then there's a few other topics that are a little bit logistical and a little bit looking forward of how we'll manage this in the future that we'd like to discuss with everyone. So I guess to start, are there any questions about the presentation? Okay, there's a typo in the presentation that we'll make a note to correct.
Hello?
Yes, okay. Do you want to go ahead and call on people as they,
okay,
I think
please.
we're doing raised hands, so.
Yeah, I think Francis has a question. You are raising your hand, Francis?
Yes.
Yeah,
please, can I ask, as part of the package, do you have, as part of the package, any special training, hands-on training for data processing discovery for other researchers that will want to participate in cutting-edge research using GNSS data?
Yeah, I don't know if this will answer your question, but we have a program that is included in this package that we be involved in educational aspects. Like, okay, when we are going to be using the forum, like conference gathering, like we have like 2 or 3 conference yearly in Africa. So we will contact those organizers to include this into their agenda, and we are going to organize training in that form to teach them how to use the receiver on their, how to connect and install the receivers. Yeah, so I'm not sure that really answered your question. Does it?
Yeah, it kind of answered my
Okay.
question. Actually, there are conferences where sometimes people will just come and present their wonderful research. We've participated already in ICTP, in other, some from Japan. We participate in some of these things, but usually you don't have hands-on, components. It's just presentations, lecture series, and then it ends it. Some of the information one can even go to the internet and read on its own. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at a situation where we have this kind of capacity building, and you have people being given skills or competencies that will enable them to process data and be part of the research community in GNSS.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
That will be handled here. Yes. Yeah,
Thank
I think
you.
we have one more another question from Solomon Yusuf. Please go ahead. Go ahead, Solomon.
Jonah, if I may speak.
Okay, please go ahead, Shigo.
Yeah, just to kind of follow up on the previous question that was asked about providing tools and stuff. That's actually was a great question, and that's one of the things that probably other people might think of jumping on in terms of this partnership. Somebody may be sitting at the university somewhere in Ivory Coast or something and say, you know what, if this data comes along, then maybe I may not have the opportunity to host the instrument or anything, but maybe I can work on a tool to process this data. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Siri involved in doing everything, but others can jump on and find these opportunities to create products that can then be used by the entire community. So let's not just look at Siri, but let's all look at creating opportunities where people are in terms of trying to find ways to participate other than just hosting an instrument.
Absolutely, yeah. So hosting is, like I said, is, we are just preparing the basis here. Building on the basis that has to do with everybody, coming together to give whatever aspects you are good at and contribute that into that. So the building of instruments is just the very, very basic. Putting those instruments around those regions is also the very basic, but using them and trying to educate people to use them is those things that we need to build on to, particularly in the African region. I know that this will open a large door for everybody to gets funding for his project or whatever he plans to do when these instruments are there. So it's like the very basic, but we can actually build on it if this is successful. So the successfulness of this project is extremely important for other parts to come up. So
yes, can you hear?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of the team. What I want to ask is two things. I'm in geology, and I would love to use these resources for research and development also. You said few things about geology, but I don't know how in future do you intend to expand the area to cover our area of interest in geology. That is one. Number two, we're in Nigeria and we're concerned about security. Don't you think this will cause problem with the government, bringing in equipment for recording and for taking data? I want to know if the federal government are aware of this so that it will not be a problem in future. The third is, and the last one, how do we collaborate to bring up students to be part of this team and to produce like PhD students in geology and geophysics, because that is our interest since we're in the academics. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Solomon. Those are important questions, particularly about government involvement in this. I think for a country like Nigeria, we will not have any problem with this because I recently see that there was a commission on Niger Bear, which is a kind of super down radar that has just been commissioned. And this kind of instrument has been deployed before, but it is not in this large scale in these countries, most of these countries. So I'm not that concerned about government. I think in most of the countries, they will entertain it rather than reject it. But some countries, we are concerned about some countries like Sudan or other Somalia or countries we are concerned like Algeria. But this is also workable where we can talk to governments, agencies that are involved, and then connect the universities to that and try to solve that situation in those countries. But most of the countries that are involved in this, I'm not sure, I think they will be fine with the condition of installation. This is purely for science, and in that regard, it's fine. But if you are using it for cybersecurity, you are using it to gather information, that may be a problem. So that is why we need to discuss on how to go forward. What aspect of studies do we want to include, and how we can limit problem with the government. So regarding the topic about geology, yeah. So there are, I think many people have the same questions that are outside our own field. So I think the most important solution to this is you can come and then you give a talk, maybe in the next seminar series. You can decide to give us some perspective in your field on how you want to use these instruments. And if it is what we can include, maybe there is some things that we need to include, like, for example, we can just buy RTK, or we just buy GNSS receivers. The RTK one is more sophisticated ones. So if you don't have any need for that, given the kind of study that we want to do, we don't have to spend much money on that. But if you come and present your work and show us that this is the kind of work you do, and this is, we will see where it fits in the kind of receivers or equipment that we are bringing in. And in that case, we are, discussing and moving forward to have a better situation or instruments that will serve every kind of studies.
Yeah, thank you. What about the PhD? What about collaborating to produce PhD students from the data?
Yeah, that is primarily what this is all about. In fact, education-wise, a lot of students will benefit from this project. A lot of students, particularly masters and PhD students, they are going to benefit a lot because this data are going to be widely available. A friend, I think the deputy director of IGS has sent me a message about possibility of making this data available with the IGS when it eventually starts working. And we are open to making the data available to as many data management as possible, because the important point here is that students should benefit, and every member of the community should benefit. So if we want that to happen, like I said when I was giving my presentation, there is a map I showed. I said some people have receiver data, but they are keeping it to themselves. So when I go to the internet and I download the data, those are the few receivers that I could download that are free. So in this case, it's going to be free for everybody. IGS is free for everybody, and this data will be transported there. It will be transported to Madrigal. If you know about Madrigal network, every database that are available for us or that are welcome us will be having this data. So for PhD activities, master's activities, I think they will be the one to benefit more in this project. And also it will open collaborations from with Africa internationally. To, you know, you have a PhD and another person have a project that has to do with Africa on plasma bubble or equatorial, you know, spheric disturbances and things like that. So it open communication between two people, so our countries, as the case may be. So it's really, really beneficial for students by and large.
Yes, thank you. The last one, can we get this presentation sent to us? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Patrick. Patrick can go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So
Leslie, let us know when we I think you manage everything, please.
Sure. Let's do a couple more questions and then we'll move on to to respect everyone's time.
Okay, sounds good.
So yeah, but yes,
Yeah,
Patrick,
so
please.
concerning the number of receivers you showed on Africa, that you had 19, okay, on internet. I think the problem here is one of the biggest problem is the internet. Because it was when I came to Ghana in 2021, then I realized that even Ghana, we have a lot of receivers that are even more than 10. But you can only find one on IGS, website. So it means if anybody anywhere wants to search for the GPS receivers, you are going to find only one in Ghana, probably.
Yeah,
so later through my inquiries, I got to know that the people who were managing most of the receivers are the surveying department. Okay, so to land on the project we are embarking, I think we need to concentrate more on the internet aspect. If possible, we get a internet, like a Starlink or Starline or Huawei or those kind of, so that it's like the internet services that will be connecting these receivers will not be limited to a particular country. Okay, if that comes, it's going to be difficult for us to get data from the various receivers that will be mounted, especially in remote areas.
So, Patrick, that is part of why we are here. We want to know how internet works in some of the countries. For you being in Ghana, can you tell us about the status of internet in universities, not in household, but in universities? Can we be boastful of internet availability, not commercial wise, but Wi-Fi kind of in the university?
Yeah, okay, so that's a good question. So concerning the internet in the university, that one I think is perfect. Okay. Like I told you before, the instrument Oscar imager I mounted here, the Japanese get the data straight, okay, through internet. So the internet in the universities are perfect.
Mm-hmm. So why we cannot go for Iridium or Starlink, all those they are really expensive. And if we can get our data not in real time, that's why this discussion is here, right? Discussion is extremely important because we want to know what you want to use data for. If we have contributions of people that are using real-time data, like we see the statistics of people that are using real-time data and people that are not particular about real-time data. We will not be able to, we will not go for.
There are no that people are not serious with students.
I don't know.
They see the exam report and they accept, fine. They don't know what will happen. You understand? You can go back then. Not an invitation, the exam.
Hello, who is that? Who is that? I need
to.
Can you please mute? I can't see. Okay. Junior, Junior, can you mute? Okay, I think I can meet him here. Okay, thank you. So, what I was saying. Now, so internet is important, but why do we need internet? To get data from the station to the data control station. And that is why we need internet. And these gadgets that we are providing, we have a storage that can store data. And whenever there is internet availability, it transports the data to the right places. So in real time or near real time, we want us to go for faster or ready available internet like Starlink, Iridium. But if we don't have any reason to go for real time at this point, then we don't need all those. If the university internet will serve our purpose. Even though there is no internet at 1 day, 2 days, it's still going to be okay for us. Whenever the internet is available, all the data will be transported. Does that answer the question?
Yes, please. Yes, please. That's okay.
Yeah.
The next one is about the update of the Google form. I think even in Ghana, about 4 universities have failed the Google form. Unfortunately, I did not see them to be part of the email. So I think subsequently you have to update the Google form.
Okay. Yeah, please, could you send me, I received some failure delivery. Maybe they make mistakes in their email in the Google form. If you could send me their right email, I will add it again to the next one.
I'll do that. And lastly, concerning Sudan, like when the question was asked about the security, you were talking, you made mention of Sudan. But I think Sudan, the space agency or the space research director, I connected to you and she wholeheartedly said that she would like to host the receiver.
Right. I think we have Sudan in the list. If I go to the distribution of this, I think there is Sudan here. But that question was about government intervention or trying to interrupt the deployment of the receivers. That varies with countries. So I am not sure I have the right answer. And I just know that what that question is all about is true. It's for some countries, but not for other countries. But it can be resolved.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure.
So, Olu, you want one more question from Frank, and then maybe we can move on to planning for future meetings?
Okay. I think we should also talk about funding. There could be some people in the house that could make 1 or 2 comments about funding. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't see a hand up for Frank anymore, actually, though.
Oh, maybe the internet failed him. I don't.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I actually lowered my hand because you already.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Congratulations, Doc, on this in this project. So yeah, I think the internet seems to be quite a very important issue. So I wasn't there when you presented about the technology itself. I don't know exactly how the receiver works, but there have been some other alternative technologies as well, where people use like a radio transmitter. So maybe you could have some, I don't know, central base station, and then that receiver might have a radio transmitter. That is if we desire real-time transmission of the data, where it can actually use a radio, maybe a simple radio transmitter, which could send the signal to maybe a base station or some sort. Another thing that I think could work has been suggested is the use of SpaceX. So if real time is not possible, I think maybe we can have people, I don't know, people can be deployed who probably might have to physically, do the transmission of the data, where they will go with the mobile, the SpaceX. I think it's quite pretty mobile. They'll get to the station, download the data, upload it, proceed to the next station. So
Yeah, I think we
I
lost.
don't think it's all the stations that are going to have real time, but those that don't have real time, that could be a solution where a person, an individual actually has to, physically move from place to place doing the upload of the data, which I'm sure is possible in some places. So I think internet for me could be the most important thing, but yeah, it's a great initiative.
Yeah, internet is important, but power supply is also important. We are able to solve the problem of power supply. And if now it's about, imagine you have a phone in your hand and you don't have power. So there is no way you can even think about internet. So now we have power and internet, like I said, if we are putting this in universities, Wi-Fi's are available and they are cheaper to be paid for. And, except we have an excellent funding agency that is interested in sponsoring this with Starlink or Iridium that are super good, then because they are very, 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 very expensive to, 1 hour of that or less than 1 hour, it's a lot of money to every day. And we need more than 1 hour sometimes every day. So we cannot vouch for that, but it's not impossible. So yeah, it's a good suggestion that internet could be a challenge, but we have some solutions, which is putting these receivers in universities where internet are readily available and cheaper to maintain. So it's like when you have internet, but you cannot maintain the cost. That is also not having it. So if you have internet and we can maintain the cost, I think that is much better. So yeah, that is that about internet. We would keep thinking about the best way, but for now, the Wi-Fi in the university will be the best option, except we have a funding agency that is willing to go for the high cost option.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm answered then. Yeah, and also hosting it at the university also helps with maintenance and stuff. So
exactly.
And security as well. So yeah. Thank you.
And yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
So I was just going to encourage us to move along now. But that this is fantastic discussion, and I think exactly what we were hoping to get from the community. So thank you, everyone who's been here. So there are two topics that I think we want to cover, and about 5 minutes left in the hour. So one of them perhaps we can just touch on and discuss more in detail next time. So the first is a funding source for this project. We're trying to identify an appropriate mechanism for funding, and I can think of this as two ways. First, the initial deployment of everything, and secondly, the ongoing maintenance, so operation and maintenance of the network. And one could think of many, many different ways this could be done. So if people have ideas or thoughts or specific places or agencies that you think we should investigate, we welcome your input. And the other topic, we could go back to that in a second, just because I know people are going to start hopping off, is the planning for future ones of these meetings. So kind of what I said, perhaps a natural thing to discuss next time is potential funding opportunities, and have that be a focus of conversation. But we've also discussed having these effectively as seminars about once a month, where anyone is invited to present either ideas specifically related to this project, other ground-based receivers or ground-based instruments they'd like to deploy, other science, equatorial science that's happening in the region that would benefit from this, anything like that. So does anyone have thoughts and comments about that? Otherwise, I might list off a date or two and see if people have opinions about it.
And also, just to reinforce the statement about funding agency. If you, I think we have some top people among us that are more or less program managers. If you think you have such kind of funding that we at some point we have funding, but it wasn't that sufficient. And we believe there are funding out there that we are not aware of. So you can please opt in or send us emails to that effect.
Okay, so funding's always a difficult topic, and I do want to get a date down before people
Yes.
start having to hop off. So let's see, we're November 29th right now. A month from now is December 29th, a Friday, which is not going to be conducive for US institutions, at least. Does anyone object to early January as aiming for that?
And if anyone is interested in giving us presentation on what he or she is doing and how that could, the GNSS distribution could come into play, please let us know before the next meeting. People that are in geology, geodesy and things like that could also present their work in this forum. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. The early January, can we have the date? Can we have the specific day?
How's January 10th sound?
So Leslie, if not for December, I think I have put this to be recurring every last Wednesday of the month.
Okay. I mean, there we can certainly, so the last Wednesday in December is what is it?
Yeah, I think it's 27th. I think.
The 27th. Okay.
Jonah, just for your information, a lot of places in Africa closed down for this industrial breaks during the Christmas period. So you may not have people to attend those meetings if it's somewhere towards the end of December.
Exactly.
So I'll just say skip December and target January.
Exactly.
The next meeting to be in January.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That would be fine. That would be fine.
Okay. Why don't we tentatively say January, or why don't we say January 10th? And same time for now, or would anyone like to propose? I know we have our covering many time zones here, so it's tricky to work for everyone, but January 10th, same time.
So
we'll obviously send out reminder emails.
So Leslie, do we want to keep changing the time for the meeting, or we want to fix January 10 of, or maybe what Wednesday of every first week, because we need to fix it. So now it is last Wednesday of every month.
Okay, that's a good point. You want to do first Wednesday?
Right, we could just cancel for December, and then the last Wednesday of January will be the next meeting.
Okay, we can do that. So in that case, it's January
24th.
Thank you, 24th.
24th, yeah, okay, excellent.
So we'll do January 24th, same time. If anyone has, the last Wednesday is the 31st. That is correct, January 31st then. I think, again, trying to wrap this up for everyone, if anyone has strong opinions about the time, please reach out to us, and we can try and adjust things moving forward. But thank you again. This was a very productive discussion, and Olu, perhaps next time we can devote some time to talking about specific funding opportunities.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your time and contribution.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget to send email if you want to let us know what you are doing and how it's benefit or how the distribution of receiver will benefit your work.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Olu. Just a final note.
Okay.
I see as you've contacted the IC. Did you have any positive response with them?
Yeah, they showed a lot of interest in this, and they sent me email and asked me to join the series of meeting and IGS bulletin. I can receive so many of these things, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good. It's nice to coordinate with them. This is kind of early as per the meeting you led today. But yeah, keeping them in the loop is definitely interesting. And of course, the IGS has made a mission to try and reach out to the African continent and have representatives from the African continent as well in the governing board. So yeah, this is very interesting to the IGS. And would allow us to have a better global coverage, as you described. Yeah, please stay in contact with them. And I wanted to suggest to invite them to those meetings too.
Yes.
Perhaps Marcus, and just doesn't need to be the entire infrastructure committee, but perhaps only Marcus and Ryan. Yeah, would be great.
Yeah, I will add them to the mailing list, and yeah, and they really showed a lot of interest. Mark, is it Ryan now that added me in the LinkedIn and make some comments about this effort? So I think they are very well into this. So yeah, thank you, Leo.
Perfect. Thank you for this effort. This is very much needed, and we do appreciate tremendously your efforts. All right, good luck with that.
Thank you, and regards to my people over there.
Oh yeah. Right. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Yeah. Okay. So I will close this for everybody. Thank you. Thank you all.